You know, when we watch young athletes compete, we see all the obvious stuff, right? Their strength, their speed, their skill. But what about the game being played inside their heads? Today, we're going to look at why mental health in youth sports is getting so much attention, and we'll dive into a project that's giving young athletes the tools they need to do more than just compete. It's helping them thrive.
Because, see, behind every single goal, every finish line, every big game, there's this invisible challenge going on. The pressure to be the best, to win, to live up to everyone's expectations. That stuff takes a real toll. And for a lot of these young athletes, that struggle is no joke.
Okay, let's just jump straight to the data, because this is what really kicked things off. In a study of young athletes in Croatia, you might see that almost 60% showed no signs of depression and think, great, but let's flip that around. That means a whopping 40%. We're talking 2 out of every 5 athletes were dealing with some level of depressive symptoms. And that ranges all the way from mild to severe. This shows us this is not some rare thing. It's a huge challenge happening on fields and courts right now.
So you have to ask, where did these numbers even come from? Well, they're the result of the MindFit project, which did this massive analysis to get a really clear picture of what young athletes are actually going through.
And they didn't just scratch the surface either. The project surveyed over 500 young athletes. Seriously, think about that number. This wasn't some quick little poll. It was a major deep dive to get real, solid information about how they're doing mentally.
They really zeroed in on a critical age group, kids between 10 and 18 years old. I mean, those are tough years for anybody, right? But when you're an athlete, that time is just jam-packed with unique pressures. And by looking at athletes in both Croatia and Spain, they could also start to see how different environments might be playing a part.
And a very clear and kind of worrying pattern started to show up in the data. Basically, as the athletes got older, the problem got worse. That 16 to 18-year-old group in particular showed way more signs of mild, moderate, and even severe symptoms. It's like all that pressure just keeps building up over time.
And get this, when they compared the rates of severe symptoms, there was a massive difference between the two countries. In Croatia, almost 8% of young athletes reported severe symptoms, but in Spain, it was just 1.5%. That's a huge gap, and it really makes you wonder what's going on. It suggests that things like culture, or maybe coaching styles, or the support systems in place could be making a world of difference.
So this data, it paints a pretty stark picture, doesn't it? But it's not just bad news, it's also a roadmap. The question then becomes, what do we do with this knowledge? How do we go from just knowing there's a problem to actually doing something about it?
Well, that is exactly what the MindFit project decided to do. They didn't just publish the report and walk away. They took all these findings and built a real plan, a way to turn all this data into direct, hands-on support for coaches and athletes.
And the result is the MindFit Toolkit. And let me tell you, this is not just another boring report that's going to collect dust on a shelf. It's a practical, hands-on guide designed so that any coach, even if you have zero background in psychology, can use it to help their athletes with the mental side of the game.
Okay, so let's peek inside this thing. What does the toolkit actually give you? What are these tools that a coach could start using like tomorrow?
The core of the toolkit is a set of 16 workshops, and they cover pretty much everything you can think of. You've got fundamental skills like conscious breathing and setting boundaries, but it also gets into more advanced stuff like using cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, to recognize negative thought patterns. It's a total package approach, covering resilience, nutrition, goal setting, even knowing when it's time to ask for professional help.
Let's just pull one out as an example. Assertive communication. The toolkit gives coaches this simple but really powerful formula called the I statement. So instead of a player shouting, "You always ignore my passes," which, just starts a fight, they learn to say, "I feel frustrated when I'm open and don't get the ball because I want to help the team score." You see that shift? It goes from blaming someone to working together. That's a game changer.
Here's another one you could use literally right now. It's called the 4-7-8 breathing technique. It's just a super simple exercise to calm your nervous system down when you're feeling stressed. You breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold your breath for 7 seconds, and then you exhale slowly for 8 seconds. That's it. And the toolkit is filled with tangible, easy-to-use strategies just like this one.
Now, a great toolkit sounds nice and all, but here's the real question. Does it actually work in the real world? Well, the MindFit project didn't just create the resources, they put them to the test.
So this program wasn't just an idea on paper, they went out and implemented it in 6 different sports clubs across Croatia and Spain, covering all sorts of different sports and team environments.
and they tested it with 90 young athletes. The coaches took these workshop ideas and just wove them right into their daily training routines, maybe before practice, during a water break, or after. The goal was to make mental fitness just a normal, everyday part of physical training.
And that really brings us to the core philosophy of this whole project, and it's captured perfectly in this quote. In sports, your mind and your body aren't separate. They're completely connected. Building stronger, more aware, and frankly happier athletes means you have to train both. So what this project really asks us all to think about is, what if every single sports club treated mental conditioning with the exact same importance as physical conditioning? What kind of future could that create for our next generation of athletes?